xaalis boo xam ne kooku noonu loolu mu ngi nekk on ba pare investigation a ngi on ngay koo jox okay
do you go to parliament before that
no boy bu leeral lii no man ngeen wax pare léegi njaay ngeen wax bàyyi ko mu daaneel man foog ñu meente
please
foog ñu meente nag
come on guys
no bàyyi ñang
balal ma rek nañ leen am decorum please su ko fee ñu mun am a nice discussion
no waaye ñëpp a ngi alright ana Cissé moo war a
ñu déglu wante waa Cissé please yow yaay di host so léegi su nit ñi ñëwee waaw yow su nit ñi ñëwee di xam nga allow them to deliberate then at least xam nga ku nekk wax ba daaneel ku am lu moo ribotal anything nga def su fekkee dafa am kuy bot rest tam nga def loolu thank you go ahead
waaw man li ma wax mooy this Joe Colley we're talking about millions and millions of dollars yoo xam ne dañ ko génnee without proper recording immediately after the 2021 election and auditor reports si wone na loolu so loolu rek has created a doubt boo xam ne kii is not fit to serve at that apex level man waxuma procedure be dara sax waaye li nga xam ne tudda nañ ko si election suñ toogee ba tudda affaire yi xaalis ci ki nga xam ne mooy referee bi problème am na thank you
okay that is a very valid point
okay
you will
no I have to clarify that
yes lima wax moy
that is already been clear his name because then before parliament and then put the evidence before that it was contrary from what the auditor said in fact evidence normal auditors that so when they were back to National Assembly before F-back with their deputy commissioner in fact so even on evidence is contrary to what the auditor had said because everything was put in paper and evidence based put them in the discourse and that one is clear and done that's God and dusted don't never want to lay
okay
passionately to check on this thing because who is
Cissé ma laaj la benn question Cissé wait Cissé ma laaj la benn question kii Joe Mini bu guy level allegations of corruption against him even though bu nekkee ne you are skeptical of it foog loo tamit loolu dina mun a dem jox a little bit discredit the anti-corruption body only on these allegations because it's already been adversely mentioned by certain allegations corrupt
anti-corruption land Joseph Kony ne ko moo nekk anti-corruption
commission how much
déedéet yow yaa ngi yaakaar ne ko moom manga moom na ko ga investigate nu mu demee lan we are not talking about
anti-corruption
okay
we are talking about the IEC the Independent Electoral Commission
man lu ma wax sax okay léegi man lu ma wax sax mooy man I'm not talking about lu ñang di wax sax ne amoon na issues with money and all that man this is the first
moo jot suma loolu bi tey
why this is the first I've heard of it why man why man si
su fekkee ne mun nga clear the taps you can do that nga seet su fekkee ne loolu tam woogul nga fay ko nga taalaat ko
letting can I come in
okay léegi
point you can harama laaj tawhid da nga submit ba harama laaj tawhid da nga submit
no submit aguma because ñang moo jël ñang ma doon wax ñang
tawhid
waaw ñang a dog moo dog suma wax
okay
lu ma wax mooy moom lu mu wax sax man this is the first I've heard of it man I'm not even talking about financial irregularities and mismanagement man I'm focused on the electoral process in the interest of fairness in the interest of today the transparency I don't think that person should be nominated by the president just like that at ben process bu mun a dem na nañ bàyyi the electorate if possible ñoom ñu choose lii nañ def election if you have to man noonu laa foog ne loolu la war a loolu fair waaye ak noo ko mën a explainer Cissé naan dem na turu review dem na turu nangam sangam review kana nekk the head of the reviewing body who is the head of that reviewing body or in fact or in fact can more sanction that reviewing process xam na lii yëpp foog ngeen boole ko ci xalaat bi at the end of the day kuy review boss yi kuy review commissioner bi yëpp Barrow mooy seen boss they are all answerable to Barrow man mane waxuma yi corruption sax although loolu is an important an integral part of it or an important element of it waaye man mane dama feel ne rek moom mënut just like that yaa ngi compete ak other parties nga ñëw select kan mooy nekk referee loolu man I don't think it's fair.
It's the president who nominates him.
No,
nominate him.
No. Ahakai. No. Caesar, harare. Deglu ma rek. 1 minute. Yo li nga wax nangu nako. Dafa go.
Okay, now what does the law say?
Harare.
What does the law say?
No. Forget about that. Man, deglu rek no understand. No. Let's simplify it. Let's not make it complicated. What I am saying is just very simple. Money. Ngane dem na through a review process. Akawma dem na through ban process. Manel, lolu is under the purview of the executive body. So you understand lolu. All those people eventually are going to be answerable to Adama Barrow, which means essentially that you're def lumbuga. Lila la buga understand your process boy wa yep
Judicial Service Commission.
IEC,
I think
IEC is not answerable to the president. IEC is IEC is answerable to the National Assembly. In fact, the president,
then why didn't the National Assembly select the ICC chairman?
Listen to me.
That would have been a fairer process.
It's the No, listen.
Come on.
You know, okay, so for me, it's going to be very short. I'm going to make a very short submission. And then I will talk in two veins. One, Tosman Nyanjai's argument, which is very, very serious as far as good governance and democracy is concerned. When we talk about transparency, even if you are allegedly involved in corruption scandals or economic crimes, that has really disqualified an individual to take certain position or opposition of such. So give you the example, if Caesar didn't know, these were the very individuals that receive almost millions of Gambian dollars through their own private account, with the notion that they cannot transfer with money to rural Gambia. But of course, Joseph Colley was the returning officer for Birkama. Can you tell me that IEC's account in Greater Banjul area, monies are not going to be saved there, then it needs to be transferred to somebody's account who is within the Greater Banjul area? Does that make sense? Because their claim were people cannot transfer with the cards from Greater Banjul to URR and CRR. That is why they decided to transfer the money to the respective returning officer's account, which is so flimsy. Okay, fine, let's agree with that. How about the people in the Greater Banjul area, the Birkamas, the KMCs, and the Banjul, where those returning officers have money in their accounts? And Auditor General have flagged that almost millions of those balances have not been returned to IEC's account. It is on the audit report. The from the expenses has not been returned to IEC's account. And papers are there. You can argue. If you want, you can argue. Or I can give you the paper. And another point that I want to talk about has to do with the process and the procedures of the selection. I believe I said this last time, and I have a disagreement with Great Things, but the Coalition 2016 failed Gambians woefully. Coalition 2016, their sole mandate was for reform. And among those reforms, that's why we lost solo Sunday about electoral reform. Tell me one single reform that has been done as far as electoral laws are concerned.
Because it is changed and reviewed, and then that's why we have the 2025 Election Act that is passed in Parliament.
Just tell me one clause.
With clauses, there are different clauses. I cannot tell you different Election Act.
Only one clause, just one. Tell me one clause that has been amended. Just one.
It's a new clause. I couldn't know of head yet.
Brother, I mean, come on. If you are arguing that,
don't tell me that because I cannot all public documents.
Okay, now this is a very simple analogy. Simple analogy.
Now, then why do we have
if you are arguing,
I'm asking you. No, listen. I'm asking you. Then what is
no. Cisse, boy, you only more than that. So you feel the big.
I have to answer.
No, I'm not sure what be the
you said you
can understand. Why you Daniel? You're just 2 minutes. You're in nothing.
Exactly. I'm not going to go above my time. If you tell me 2 minutes, you will do that. So what I'm telling
you, why that they also, bro?
So the reality is, you know, Caesar could not tell me one clause that has been amended in the Constitution as far as electoral laws are concerned, and he had admitted that he doesn't know. He cannot say it on top of his head. So which means that there is no substantial change that somebody can reflect on. Not diaspora voting, not all the rules or regulations that has been there. In fact, they have increased the cost for presidential candidates and other positions if they wanted to fire. And this is what Americans are fighting for. Bourgeoisie is taking in charge of our own economy, in charge of our own foreign policies, in charge of our own politics. Are you going to see more of that? That is why our Barrow's 50 million come into play. Can you encounter Barrow's 50 million? Even opposition, fragmented opposition, who cannot even accumulate $1 million, how can they contest with somebody who already has 50 million in his account to induce voters? It's a game over. The game over that Sabali is singing, it is here. And that's what that is my submission. Thank you.
If
you don't follow Parliament, you cannot. You don't even know what is happening.
I follow Parliament 1 million.
Listen, please, we do respect. You have spoken. Listen, you have. So take your time.
Okay, go ahead.
If I tell you don't follow Parliament, then who was having that election act to review and consultation? It's based on that report. That's why they changed that election act that was passed in Parliament last year. So if you come and sit down here, that is totally false, and that is your opinion again. That doesn't make it right. And in that allegation, it has been cleared about Joe Colley.
No, Mom, electoral reform law. Why don't want to dig up? I'm change electoral process. That's true. That is a fact. You have to accept that.
That is not a fact. That is not a fact.
No, never done that. Understand. I'm not earlier on. Why do you don't want? Lumwa is a very fair point because you know why? Coalition we brought 2016 ado reforms we gonna def nañu wante diga defuñ ko taw mo ne baro la de blame mo baro ne balo mo why lu mo diga no wait especially the electoral process bi dañu wax dañ ko rona reform ta lolu defuñ ko ado defuñ ko ta lu ma don wax about baro selecting awma su fekkee loi bi dafa wax ne Adama Barrow mo wara choose I accept okay then hands down I accept what he is saying. How much a problem? I'm not going to go against. I'm not going to go against the constitution. But what? So fake the constitution be more dollar Barrow. Ado neko. Barrow mo select. Okay, that's fine. Barrow nenko buy mo select. Why not? So na su select tabi. Dafa mel ni ñangay wax. Warna select ko xamne is clean. Ado. Wow, because for the interest of fairness, for the interest of transparency, you bare kide jokoli la bugade why jokoli na set haramajel ado tam NPP la ado can do the job because luma bañ election ma mom ku corrupt la jël tek ko ci place bi so we're not going to be surprised to take a coconut corrupt dealings because Lolo is not going to look good for on Barrow so fofu lay waxe why su bege constitution dafa wax ne Barrow and Barrow alone momoy choose then Barrow is right to choose no la bugo wax
now deglo
ñu ribotal awal yo alu boy
Barrow never just get a whole handpicked Joe Colley no and then no the allegation of Joe Colley that is already been clear that individual because he was called and then put the evidence before the FPAC and then you clear for in Parliament. If you want to follow that, then go back Parliament, do it for you to be on the National Assembly.
Why see Harald? Why remember 30 seconds? No, even to fake clear name in good governance. So good governance ado. Barrow waruta nango anything lu ko taxafu nek Parce que he's not gonna make his image look good. I'm not far away. Even though mune clear nañ ko, waaye di fact ne rek am na lii on the background waru ko choose.
Dama déglu man tamit dama déglu.
Cissé.
Même tuuti.
Voilà, moom si gannaaw buntam dafa nekk de si panier boobu noonu.
Dara soo ko déggee auditor dafa génn ne it's not money per se, but it was an institution. They put the technicalities. Moo tax man dama bëgg a nit ñi soo leen diggee ne tër bu leen ne damana. Go and look at the facts.
Well,
and you know rational.
Well, look, Cissé, what happened?
Yeah, you understand. So, Gambia. Gis nga nit yi. Gis nga the man's integrity cannot be questioned. Kooku noonu dara jalo ko si ko àdduna.
Why not? What do you mean his integrity cannot be questioned? Is he not a human being? Is he not a human being? Of course, everybody.
Why allow them come on
suñ liggéeyam daf koy ak taala mooy liggéeyam su ne ko yónnee ni ko jokkale di fi na bu yàgga demoon na bu yàgga dam come to a personal level no come living come kirti katare to the personal level I worship with him the same place nekkul loolu kese de dama xam jokkale bu baax biir Joshua te xam naa ko bu baax his integrity du ko lay caaxaane feneen ak moral ak mo dafa principle yaa ngi understand
Okay,
and in fact,
you cannot believe in that. It's coming from you.
Okay. You are
watching for the man. No, you are not.
Let me respond. Okay, wait a minute.
Cissé, can I say something, please?
Cissé, let me respond. It's my time to talk. Okay. Okay. Here we have to do justice to Joe Colley. If he was cleared. If the IEC was adversely mentioned that different people, money was transferred to them, and then Lulu included on maybe Joe Colley, and then he was investigated, because he is part on the parliament gives them a clear and go. So that means that also we have to give him his right to handle any position because he was clear. That means he was not criminally liable to handle any position. As long as Lulu, National Assembly be clear and go, then I don't see no problem in his handling of IEC. Now, where I have problem is, if he was adversely mentioned and they prove it, then I would say, no, President Barrow, then for point, but I think that was wrong. But he was cleared. So we have to give him his basic right also as a citizen. Secondly, look at the one electoral reform. Electoral reform, amna kai. Because if you go to the electoral changes, amendments amna article 2020 buga include is in a polling areas, no more polling areas, the polling centers or stations, and proposals also to increase IEC capacity and gender specific divisions. Include na fufu. Representative proposal 10% reserve seats for persons with disabilities. Leader includes electoral reform.
Sorry, Brother Ado.
Did not cover
Brother Ado,
okay.
No, Brother Ado. This man said
nobody will say you will not complain.
Why do they talk about the diaspora? I think it's because of that diaspora was even mentioned. Because
exactly.
they were going through it.
The changes are not for I can say that.
This guy is saying that it doesn't happen.
The old election act section 30 is there. Why are we not implementing the old election act section 30? The diaspora vote.
So I don't know what is the next thing. But just to make this argument, electoral laws, I'm not using change. Okay? The specific gender is the.
Question for you too,
yeah.
So looking at the audit reports, audit has explicitly made it clear that these are individuals that have received money through their personal account, and the return, the remaining balance has not been debited to the IEC's account, and the audit is the only institution competent institution to look into government finances and other sectors that are associated with the government. So I do not
and other institutions, yes.
I do not really understand if my brother Caesar said, these people have been cleared by the FPAC committee. I cannot get the FPAC committee have a jurisdiction to clear somebody who has been found wanting by the
Of course. Now listen.
I don't think now wait here. I don't think the parliament can clear you.
Caesar, can you drink Nobu Seda?
No, Harare, I want to tell you something here. FPAC have the jurisdiction. Do you know why? Now, FPAC, in this consultation, because their greatest partner is what we call the National Audit Office, the department. Today, management will come and sit, FPAC will sit, and then themselves, the audit office will start. And then they verify this issue. And if they said, okay, they have this document to justify what they were saying, now it depends. Now it's not decision by the FPAC to make a determination to justify, and then people auditors will advise them better before they make their decision. That is clear. Because auditors will come and bring their report at the end of the day to the preliminary. So load up what are clear.
I want to opinion there too. If you remember, the National Assembly make a finding about the allegation of Russia oil scandal. And the current Minister of Interior, then the IGP, was found wanting for involved in economic crime. And now, among National Assembly recommendations, they forced the government to.
Do you say it was economic crimes?
Yeah, someone will have a problem,
Economic crimes, rather. Economic crimes.
Somebody muted me though.
Are you sure the report said that they have fined them wanted for economic crimes?
So let me recharacterize that. That might be out of work. So what happened was the minister currently Abdullahi whatever was found wanting for taking bribe. Okay, it is a bribe. I can remember it very well.
Okay,
one of the recommendations.
Can you go to that particular section of the report because I have the report? Because the audit never said that. What do you say? That parliamentary report, the report never said that they have fined them for money laundering, or they have never said that.
So, but Caesar, are you okay?
We have seen they say censor. For their
no other people that Barrow can select. Yeah,
no, okay, let me land.
Let me think. I don't know, think postcard or what. What you are saying, what you are saying about Abulai Sanya. National Assembly cannot tell the executives to do something when they themselves did not get an evidence. Because this was the problem. Because if you even listen to
that can determine whether the evidence are substantial or not. Listen.
No, listen. What you are saying. No, listen. What you are saying is misleading because there are a lot of things you are saying. You are a journalist, but I think you have to do due diligence to follow things. Because what you are saying.
Yes.
What you are saying. If you listen between Peter. Okay, sister. Okay, talk.
They want to buy T-boy why all about it.
No,
Cisse, this is just addressing Cisse. I've been listening for over an hour. Yanangewa about this IEC and Mr. Colley. You might know Mr. Colley. I too know Mr. Colley very, 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 very well. Okay. I'm family with him. So why I am also a Gambian. Madgisane yo with too much passion and loyalty to the incumbent government. Why nyun wafi they raise critical concerns about what's going on. Nyun tam Gambian line. So Bail Sahel torop silinga de wasise. Okay? Let me just say something. Yangewa about the IEC, Yangewa about FPAC. Let me tell you something. FPAC bi ñoom seen role is to scrutinize the IEC, not the individuals. The institution, the IEC, mom la guy review, mom la scrutinize, and send recommendations see from the audit report see. Guys, send recommendations after that scrutiny was for institution, the IEC, you put send acts together. All these funds in hamne then could def to this returning, then could them do to these returning officers' personal accounts. It was 1.4, almost $1.5 million. Okay. And these funds were not retired, and I don't think they are retired. But they retire and go public be here going to dara. Degluma, please. Degluna for over an hour. Yangi mer yangi so passionately about this, but you always get it wrong. Bulfate, we are all.
This one I don't get it wrong. I'm talking in fact and confidentially. I you don't know what
okay.
No, please, bro. Oh my God. Oh, come on, man. T-boy, wait, T-boy. Wait, please.
This
let's allow this lady.
No, let's allow her.
No, T-boy. Let her finish. But Bailen,
please, express
ourselves, please.
We have to respect each other.
Respect each other. Alabula. Just hold on, T-boy. Hold on. Bailen,
sister.
Yes.
You are go ahead.
Yeah. Audit report be 7.9 million. Mom the guy discovered Harris been the returning officers and private accounts. Jokoli began them choose later appoint co chairman. Account 1.4 million line for feka. Almost 1.5, 1.48 la to be exact. Okay. Akmanima buga jokoli. Okay. Bugana because li satalunko. So since a bunyo for the no here for integrity dugana figure na free. Would they go on Harris be what on because he's representing the public.
Exactly.
So if you're talking about integrity, I really want his name to be clear here. Okay? Because Mansumata we joke Moko Juru. That's what I'm talking about. It's family. So this gets personal for me too. But at deep down, Mangambian.
Sister, please give us a break. What you are saying, you think you can mislead people here.
So if you really want his integrity to be intact, na jokoli again, I want to retire na Halis Bini. But because what you are doing is selective. How can we hold our public officials accountable? Okay. How can we hold our public officials accountable when audit reports are not taken seriously? Okay. Because audit report is an individual. It is an individual. It's not a political document. It's a Gambian document. Those individuals, those experts, need def audit see. They are doing it for Gambia, not in the name of NPP or GDC or PD or IS or whatever. They are doing it for Gambia. Okay? So, Cisse, please. Akninga lawyer.
No. Cisse, balal Sisi haral mu ngi
Daniel.
Haral daf li mo daan benn sentence ala ro pour adresse no nga bay ko muñal rek ana mu lo muñ ben nit ki daane re yow after mom dina mute yow nga continuer nga di bot ak yoy non
yeah li ma wax rek moy audit office bi is constitutionally mandated body. Okay, so if you reject their findings, what evidence or alternative audit are you relying on them? Okay,
parengas Eli.
Bahna, parena.
Okay, thank you. Legi dañ ko may mom tamu response ci lolu mo report.
It's very clear. Neko jokoli mo dem settle bopam dedet. FPAC when the auditors make their findings based on no guy fake fofu nono. That is the management response. So before they go to their subsequent audits, they need to respond to that management. So guy concluded they will go now before FPAC. And I'm the November and they have already cleared him as a person and the institution and they have already retired by FPAC and cleared those done and dusted before FPAC. Ngane manuma do dem ko numa do dafa daan sere na kan yo kan am update man ma xam numa update man la go back to parliamentary so because am na dem fofu nono matal ko ñu ñep ñu gis ko go back to the National Assembly website is there, YouTube is there. So some ñoy fi di wax ne ko for the sake of wax ne ko comme dama ko xam wala len ne ko lol kesse man gis let us have fairness and justice sun ko waxe kan moy condole corruption man sama bobo mo koy corruption. But auditors have no doubt in the same file. In fact, auditors the guy giving the same back slot. Some of the things because new boy they are pre-conceived.
Don't go there. Please don't go there.
Please, with due respect. I understand. Bumna man mala the pre-conceived book I did send debate for before FPAC. They didn't want to calm down for no man.
This guy, man, you need a request. Next one, language there. Check out moderator na activate nga all the fin.
Defal high.
Nekuma di gis guy de because guy neka di request.
Defal high.
Definitely binana buy.
See, so what about FPAC? Lulu, it should be a public information like that.
No public. What am I go back to your website?
She's activated law properly because I'm not seeing anybody.
Memo to clearly. So Malawi for public document. Go to the National Assembly website. You will see it there. So what I'm telling you is not out of the blue from Okowahe. It's live. It was live and that.
Did they know where did that money come from?
Yes, they did.
Where did that money come from?
Where did that
money come from?
Okay, guys. Lama buga lena harlen nenyen tahawal. Nenyen a respectful discussion bo hamne. Buñ neka di disrespectante wala di yuhu wala ni kena di wax kena jokes chow si ko ambal because of our platform. We just trying to share ideas. But ham nga ñi ngi try to find the root of ham nga the truth from fan la neka ñu mun ko gene, please. So then exercise patience.
No, why the problem is this the problem is with some of the opposition. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Soon say they will not agree with it.
But that's not fair. No, that's not fair, Tibo. Lolo is not a fair comment. Lolo, do dega. That's not fair. Come on, man. She said, Mandamanyo, every time she did the support battle. Like,
listen now.
Yeah, so come on, man.
He said, "Don't want to control the platform, be you know. Yahya wants a platform. What you want? If they don't like it,
can you now leave here? Money
for received by the IEC is paid into the IEC bank account and is recorded in the IEC financial document. It's paid into the IEC bank account and recorded in the IEC financial documents. And record in the financial documents.
Procedure standard of the National Assembly. I don't think the mission as to whether IEC is clean or not. You do not need a record. I said, looking at the procedures of the National Assembly. I don't think at this juncture, at this sitting, they will make a clarification that IEC is clean or whatever or whatnot. I think after hearing from IEC, I think it's more cross-examined. They'll go and put their reports together. If CISA can go into IEC archival, the Parliament archival and get us their report as per the sitting that they had, I think that will be easier. That will be easier than that of.
Now, can you listen to me? Can you listen to me? Can you give me your ears now? FPAC is before them, and this is not like today. This is still 2021. This will already prepare the report, like IEC, and then now they have already cleared with because the auditors are seated beside them to confirm those things. And in their subsequent year now, they will advise those to make a determination. That is the FPAC. You see, it will come to their subsequent because they are going to session. So now that is, you need to put it, you can find a National Assembly, YouTube, go, them YouTube, it was last year. to be
last year about time.
3 months ago, Hara Manko living didn't come. So
end of the year or land?
Well, end of year, 3 months ago. December, you know, first week of December. This was the consideration special audit report.
Well, if I may ask, what are you trying to enlighten us on?
This
what Langa prove me?
No, Anga Damawa Fini, Aferi IEC, then Aferi audit report, send queries. Because the time the auditors did Gina, because you definitely management respond and then to clarify a management load. So now they give the audit before Parliament. Yeah, I understand. Man, them for every day because it's already declared, sir. But then couldn't justify putting you talk pull chambarko because these are all annually report.
Man, about Joe Kolila. So
Joe Kolila one is before Parliament.
Okay, legi move forward. Make that a point.
So
we can move forward. We can move forward.
I'm disconnected.
I'm a bit confused because what I do know about audit works, whenever they make a finding, they will reach out to you for you to make a clarifications. And they'll give you timeline for you to defend your points. That's what we know about audit job. And from there, if they don't get substantial evidences as per what you've tendered, because they consult all the accounts that the IEC is working with. And there they have to do their vigorous job to make sure that everything intact. Because these are institutions that international community rely on. These are institutions that IMF and World Bank rely on. And Transparency International, these are the very institutions that we have hope in. So they try to do all what they could to ensure that they don't pen anybody at the end of the day. So we can move on into another conversation as we move forward.
So now you can go and
this video doesn't prove anything.
Sadly, this video, nothing can come out of this, bro. Nobody will sit on the table and say, hey, these people are clean. Hey, auditors, you guys don't know what you're saying. It's not going to happen that way.
No. The color is clear. So they may audit. If Makolo is a boomer, the Minister of Finance, you tam, put nothing, you tam it. You don't want to come to you. And sometimes if you want to answer,
now she say, for peace to reign, I think what we should do. What we do, we will just move on. You them to the next level. Guys, let's go to the next discussion.
Go to the National Assembly. Go back to the National Assembly.
Because we kind of stagnated fini. How si benal fin bidi wabelegi munyo hamga am any agreement silly. So ñun li ñoo wax rek moy let's go back to Joe Colley. Ni nga xamé né non lañ ko appointé ak yoy nonu ndax ak this problem bi am ni ndax still he is the person that should be there. Now, why don't you revoke or the government why don't revoke? Now, what revoke? President, you are not the floor. But now, you said because elections are coming. I want
to make my submission on that. 1 minute. So Joe Colley is a Gambian, and then he really need a fair treatment, right? But in my one point, I believe it should be competitive, right? It should be really competitive. And looking at the argument that my brother is making, that there is a, how did he call it, security service or chief of service? Chief of service is just like Jammeh's time, you have security service who connived and then killed our student in 2011, student protests, because those security chiefs were the very people that started with the vice president. And the vice president asked them to do what they could.
I have never said here security chief.
No, I'm just telling you, those are the settings. Like Jammeh's time was chief of securities, and now you have service chiefs, right? Or services or whatever. I don't know how you call it.
This is Public Service Commission.
Public Service Commission.
Public Service is just like a judiciary. Like when we say the Judiciary Service Commission. Yes. Because those people are not politicians. Those people are a commission. They have a structure like a commission to work. It's just like when you say the Judiciary Service Commission. Right. It's for all public service. That's so our commission.
What we do know, these are formalities, right? These are some of the things.
Don't say formalities. They do their work and they do their report, and then it's just like verification. Today, if a judge, if you are appointed, if the president is appointed a judge, and the president of to pick it, okay, judge with them called revenue. The father a rigorous because of that is their domain, and then they will send the president to do appointment everywhere in the world. That is the standard.
Yeah.
Can I come in again?
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. What I want to say is that FPAC has yet to publish their final adopted report, especially on the IEC. Okay. Cecily Mowa, I don't know where he's getting those facts from. Why lima ham from this video bima wahni man deglu na video bini because they follow FPAC. Man, I can remember they came with recommendations. And the specific recommendations the FPAC Johe one was deposit all internally generated revenues into the consolidated fund. Okay. And that was from the chairman, Alaji Esdabo. He insisted that the IEC must follow the Public Finance Act over conflicting provisions in the Elections Act, So, and then the second recommendation, if I remember correctly, was use designated IEC accounts only for election funds. Election funds, what to do, any individual's private accounts.
The way it should be.
Okay.
By all accounting standards. By all accounting standards, huh? This money, she say Harold, please.
Let me go on. Okay. And then the third recommendation they came up with was to fully retire all impressed and provide supporting documents. So IEC must account for the 7.9 million and private accounts. Okay. And then? Which included 1.5, 1.48.
Let her finish. Let her finish, please.
And then the fourth recommendation.
No, come on. I don't have to make a point.
Please don't argue with your guest. Please.
The other recommendation, Guy Johe one, was to harmonize the Election Act with the Public Finance Act. FPAC urged the National Assembly to review the aligned legislative gaps on the IEC operational independence. Okay? Not to override financial accountability. And then I think the last one was has to do with to ensure transparency and compliance in the future. IEC agreed to adhere to the financial norms. FPAC set timelines for progress reports and one that the IEC does not excuse procedural lapses. For now, those, if I can remember, from that session, that was what I remembered. They were like, there wasn't much on the individuals themselves.
No,
it was more on the institution.
You've been following the proceedings, definitely.
But Sise, just wait. Sise Harold. As much as I agree with you, everything, Sise. But there's a mistake here. By all accounting standards, no money should be deposited into individual accounts generated from an institution. It should be deposited at the consolidated account.
Do you remember, Aduboy, do you remember such scenarios did happen during the time of Dabo being vice president?
Yes.
Over that Kuntawur relief fund, something. You remember that saga? Yes. Exactly. And yeah, that did happen, and he was questioned for that.
As much as I agree with you, Sise, you know I love NPP, I love you.
We understand.
But accounting.
We all understand. All public funds comes where them water them to the individual account.
Yeah, but why do they have
listen. It's not consolidated. Whatever you want to say, the distribution. Because there was a circumstance. But then, in fact, before FPAC, then are we going to overhaul the election? To take the risks? Now you people judge. In fact, I didn't was putting them on this policy. We want to get those lists, put them in. You guys say no list. We don't produce the list, but it's the inspector of police you produce list because the same policy so to come to the list, transfer again and transfer that happen.
No.
We understand to any other issue. Let's answer this issue.
Listen. We are in this digital age. Okay. As much as man NPP la Sise. I am
NPP
okay, wait. I have been involved in conducting elections in the Gambia.
You don't know the circumstance.
No, Sise, wait here. We are talking about public funds. Wait. I'm not your hamlet tamit. Waruñ ko setan nonu muy jala nonu rek.
Because you cannot, the accountants know very well, no matter what the circumstances are, you cannot transfer money to individual accounts.
No, that's wrong. Absolutely, you are right. Go.
You cannot do that, no matter the circumstances are. Because Gambia, no, wait, you know, these people, they have regional offices, and each regional office has an account. Okay? And as much as I always agree with you, with these regional accounts, for you can do it, you can wire it into their regional accounts, but at the local areas, they can be mobile, and if there is to be payment to be made to pooling agents or to any returning officers, they can be paid. You don't have to wire money to these people individual accounts. You cannot do that. These are accounting standards. And the accountants at the IEC knows that very well. I mean, these people are not stupid. These people, they go to the standard rules of accounting, International Accounting Federation. They cannot do such things. We just cannot ignore this kind of things and then brush it off under the carpet.
Thank you, Aduboy. Li tax na besa FPAC recommended Punyuwani IEC send budget be with $271 million for 2026 because of after Gabi face and routine line by line scrutiny. So Guy joxe recommendation bobu. So IEC statute, there is something going on there which the public should talk about. CC. There's not, if there's integrity, that those people need to come out and talk to the public because they're representing the public. And that is the last office we should be having doubts about. It should be the last office because you
is it the role of the FPAC to clear someone from corruption?
Exactly. That was my question.
That was not their role. That's not their role.
It's not their role.
That is not their role.
We have a court that you need to go and clear. And then to add on top of that, IEC failed to remit almost 8.3 million revenue from the...
I just want to put IEC under the check and balance. That does not mean a Jokoli is corrupt, okay? It doesn't mean Jokoli is corrupt. But I'm just saying, in standard rules, accountancy at the IEC should not do such things. Because at the end of the day, you are tarnishing the image of that institution. And that's what people are avoiding here.
I'm not a transparency is important.
No, and then great thing, like you said,
they should not bypass protocols. The right procedures they want to follow. Why so jele halis nga dem dugal ko to individual personal account lol no dafa tay hel de. Dafa tay hel.
There were 8 million. There were 15.8 million on authorized allowances and bonus paid.
Well, those accountants should be held. Those accountants should be held accountable.
These people should be taken to firing squad.
Boy, actually,
thank you for Hamgarek sa clarification bu. Hamga affaire is not about man benn place la nek rek. It doesn't matter luñ def rek gonga. Xam nga suñ ko defé dafa metti. Loolu la do wax T-Boy. T-Boy earlier on amna yena very good point sum wax. Si president li man ko don deglu. Bari T-Boy amanti kon tol be we just don't want to see Barrow succeed. Of course not. I want to see Barrow succeed.
Of course.
Si ñininka. Lajal adu boy dama dé fini dañ ma dé wax yo xamné dama dé dega. Yen Barrow dafa nit ñoo xamné dafa wara dañ wara génna waxal Barrow. Because su fekkee mu ngi def li yépp nit ñi xamuñ ko. Why are we not being made none of these things? I want to see him succeed. I don't care whoever I want to support. He is our sitting president. So fail, Mandama fail as a Gambian. So it doesn't make any sense. My Yema Damatankani. No. So fake them election. Mansuma preferred candidate. Dina allow them through. Why I cannot sit here and just say that let Barrow fail. Of course not. So for legacy at Aduboy Finute Moy. Aduboy is a realist. So ko jangale dara daf te at ko de absolve bu accept. Mu jël ko under advisement xej na sa mu dem wax ko gaayami ñu change direction. Why see mom aka balane It doesn't matter. He's not going to accept it. So what have mom that they meet it? You my problem. Right, thanks, Aduboy, for that clarification. Thank you.
Okay, Tawhid.
Yeah.
You know where I was having problem with you people when I was down. Because
but Nico, you people. Nico, you upon Derek.
No. It's not only you. It's not only you.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you people are saying that there was no electoral, the election bill was not, they did not make reform. Why were we complaining that? These people are stopping diaspora to vote, and then this electoral reform was for that. So you cannot say that they don't change it because you don't get what you want.
Okay, that is a fair point.
So they do something.
Okay, that is a fair point. Sorry, T-Boy. T-Boy, you are right. Exactly. This is the reason I'm saying that. The problem with the Barrow government is the message transmission. The way Molbuka along what they are doing. We need to be made known of this. We need to be made regularly aware of what is happening.
How do I know it? Because I follow the National Assembly. That's where I hear this. So if you want to know, you have to also follow the National Assembly.
You are getting it wrong.
When
we say there is no amendment, when we say there is no amendment, we are not trying to blame IEC. We are trying to blame the institution. The parliament. The parliament does not do the necessary. And in fact, here we are blaming the parliament, not the IEC. The parliament refused to make amendments.
Yeah, T-Boy, let me add to that. T-Boy, let me add to that. Even though, if you want to know a lot about our government, fine, we should go to the parliament. I understand. But nowadays, T-Boy, there is social media. There is weekly press conference. Why is the government not doing more for the average Gambian to know what they are doing? That's all I'm saying. Because not everybody can go to the parliament. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Tawi, I get you. Think, what are you saying? You said what?
So I was saying that when it comes to legislation, the only institution we need to blame is the National Assembly.
Okay.
Am I audible? So what I was trying to say, when it comes to legislation, the only institution we need to blame is the National Assembly. And National Assembly, sometimes the executive also have influence over them. Because even in America here, the same thing happened, even at the Senate. The president has the majority, and the laws that he wanted to pass, those are the laws that are going to pass. So the reason why I blame the parliament for not doing the needful, because you cannot just go and touch things that are very flimsy, like gender equality gender equality when it comes to elections, as per Beijing conference resolutions, having 30% women representation. Those are flimsy things. Those things are not going to be implemented, right? We are talking about tangible change, tangible adjustments in the constitution, especially in electoral laws. When it comes to the IEC regulation, when it comes to political gerrymander, because Nyarajibe Foni got like 5 National Assembly members. That was a political gerrymander to benefit the president at that time. That's why he did that. We need to strategize and ensure that Combo South have almost 2 or 3 constituencies so that we can have a balanced and equal representative. You get what I'm saying? So electoral reforms, these are some of the things that, the former Barrow himself and his party fought for. And when they came into the power, they could have done something better. And this blame has to go across the board, across the entire coalition. I know I have this agreement with Great Thinker when it comes to coalition, because he is Doi, and I am Doi too, but the coalition failed the Gambian. Not President Barrow alone, they failed the Gambian. In that 3 years, within that 2 years, they could have done a lot of things. And they failed to do it as a team. Look at it today. Look at the victims. Almost 240.
Hello, I think the disagreement I always have with you on that subject is you have to identify what was the coalition and at the time and where did the coalition stop. You need to know these things. You have to differentiate between the two. One was the coalition fragmented from the beginning. Immediately the chief executive started forming his cabinet. That was where the fragmentation started, and that was where it occurred. So the time they went into government, I don't consider that group of being the coalition of 2016. I see that group more of a tactical Jamfa group than a coalition 2016 group. Because the moment that fragmentation occurred in the beginning, the main people that orchestrated everything were not part of that group that went into government. And so for those reforms to be carried out, the people that we all knew we are the architecture of that coalition. We are not part of that group that went into government to be able to effect those, what is it called? How would I say this?
The reforms plans.
No, not only the reforms. Yeah, the reforms is part of it, and there was something. Anyway, okay, that one escaped my mind. Yes, the reforms is one of, well, those are one of the things. Yes, they were meant to carry out also the reforms, but the reforms alone was not what was meant to be done. Setting up of the, the entire government institution. When I say institution, I don't mean the government offices or edifices or so. I'm also mentioning the humans themselves, the people as being the institution. That restructuring, that restructuring was not carried out appropriately because these people were only appointing people that they wanted to compensate. So that is why whenever you come out to argue that the coalition failed the Gambian people, I always have a disagreement with you on that, part. Because the moment they fragmented, I don't consider the whole group to be now the coalition of 2016 that campaigned and took over the country from Jammeh.
So the reason why I always emphasize on that, because now they are calling for another coalition. And then this is the problem I have with the Gambians. Gambian will always say that Gambian will book a Cardefa wisely. Gambian has voted for coalition one. Secondly, they have voted for UDP, NAMS, and what may not. Gambians have been voting against the president, right? And then if their needs have not been sought out, you cannot turn back to the Gambian. Bro, Gambia has gone through hell.
Yes, sorry. What I was about to say was somebody wrote it on the comment, the MOU.
Yeah, the MOU.
That MOU was not honored, yes. And then if you look at the agreement was signed.
I think it wasn't signed.
No, yeah, hold on. That's what I'm saying. Because the agreement was signed, but the MOU was not signed. This is what happened. And the moment that wasn't signed, then I didn't consider the coalition to be the same coalition that I recognized, and people recommended to be our coalition of 2016 that campaigned to remove Jammeh.
Sure.
So that is why whenever you come out with the notion that the coalition failed the Gambian people, I always have a disagreement with you because you have to differentiate. When was this movement a coalition, and when has this movement transformed into something else? Because the moment they change the whole ideology and bring up a tactical alliance whatsoever, that time I don't deem the movement to be a coalition anymore.
That's where the failure comes.
Okay,
they put themselves together.
Why was the MOU not signed? Can somebody enlighten me on that? Why did they sign all these other agreements? Why was the MOU not signed? What was the problem? Does anybody know?
Well, that is a big question. The MOU, the reason why it wasn't signed is not 100% known, to me or to maybe other few people. Maybe somebody might know, but what I think is there wasn't enough time at the time of the signing of that MOU, because somebody was saying, I once had somebody making an argument saying the MOU wasn't signed because of the situation in the country then. That was the impasse that Jammeh plunged the country into, which was unnecessary. So many people were saying that was the reason. They were fixing other things, trying to get other things fixed, rather than having time to focus on the MOU. And they all believed in each other that they wouldn't come and, dishonor their words and come out with different colors.
Yeah, I think that is the reason why they don't even distribute the agreement. I think it was only Anifa and Farmer Tamajan.
I don't know how true it is.
Farmer Tamajan was the one that was having the agreement at that time. So, but I mean, great thing that you would agree with me that the coalition members organized themselves and went out to the Gambian people and seek the mandate for Gambian people to give them. That was the coalition, yes. Yes. After Gambian people giving them the mandate to act on what they have been promising the Gambians during the campaign trail, They did not do those things. And that is why I always stand firmly that the coalition has failed the Gambia. If the promises are not been met, that is between your people, like
yeah, but
politicians.
I understand what you are saying. My own point of argument is you have to differentiate between the two groups. And always when you are making your argument, I think when you submitting your argument, you could also clarify by saying, well, the coalition started very good, but eventually when they had the fragmentation, then the movement that went into government failed the Gambia. Then if you had said it like this, I wouldn't have anything to object to your statement.
And then it's important to understand as well, ne?
Because I don't want it to be misleading.
A process. Yeah, it is also important to understand there was a process in place. If only this process if only this process was respected, adhered to, and then allowed allow the process to go on, then maybe exactly as planned, maybe would have had a completely different government.
That is what we're talking about. The coalition started very well, and they came with good objectives and plans, which everybody knew about that time. And these people were ready to do effective reforms that was going to impact the country today in a better way. And then the country by now would have been on a silver platter.
Exactly.
But it was compromised, and the whole process was jeopardized by those people that wanted to scramble for position, which they did, and then destroy the whole social contract, which we are now affected sitting here today talking about it. So I always wouldn't like to hear people coming out blaming the entire coalition, because the moment you say the coalition failed the Gambians without carrying out because they failed to carry out their reforms, and you are not.
I think even Honorable always admitted
let me just come in, and you are not distinguishing or differentiating the different facets of the coalition and the transformation that happened in between. The time they transform from one group to another group, you need to identify that as well. So it is very important, because we are still, doing politics, trying to restore sanity and bring back good governance into the system. So since we are trying to do this, we need to, understand what was happening then and the nitty-gritty of things. So whenever we deliberating, we'll be able to set the record straight by telling people the reality, and then we will avoid misleading others that have just joined politics recently. So this is very important as well. Thank you.
Taking a different turn. The command of his party, then things started looking different. Then the Gambian people started questioning what is going on.
Yes, because
and it was evident. It was
the blueprint.
Exactly, it was evident because Monsubam made that statement. This document is unconstitutional, which we all knew anyway. Everybody knew.
It was a disappointment.
It was known. Yes, it was known.
That is why it's going to be very hard for me to agree with you.
No, but Halifa did clarify.
No.
The thing is, I have read TRC reports.
Team point. Allow him to learn. Maybe he has something to do.
Yeah. Tim Malal. What I was trying to say was this: even though Halifa and his team, Papa OJ, and the rest of those gallant guys did a great job, if only we respected their process. But unfortunately, we did not. And I think the person who started questioning that process was Lawyer Dabo. It doesn't mean whether UDB supported him or not, because he was the first person who started doubting the process. And I might add because of his own personal interest.
That part, Halifa did clarify that part in Parliament, because Halifa did make it very clear. He made it very clear by saying they adopted a tactic. That means they were aware of the Constitution and the laws that are binding, the binding laws. So they adopted a tactic, and that was how they organized themselves in order to create that environment, to have that done, that Gambians wanted them to, that the Gambians taxed them to do. That was how they managed and be able to have it worked out for us. They knew the Constitution supersedes everything. So believing, trusting one another was how they continue to the next level. Walking into the convention, electing a flag bearer, asking the person to resign from his party, represent the entire coalition, and campaign to oust Jammeh. And this was done. So they believe in each other, not knowing that there are few among themselves who are not there for who doesn't have the political will or are not ready for the cause, but they had a hidden agenda, which later surfaced. And that was why everything, became a fiasco.
This was what I was trying to say. Ne? In as much as Lu Sai was journalist, it's very, very true. But we have to also understand it. This could have been a successful process if only the agreement was met, the agreement was adhered to, they respected the 3 years, and after the 3 years, everybody can go on campaign for your party. That would have been a masterclass.
Yeah, the ulterior motive that they had, some of the members had then.
That would have been a masterpiece. But Balma, bro. But unfortunately, Manduma buy the cover. And it's not because I'm not UDP, but Ba Hussein should buy one process. Mom could have been the sitting president of the Gambia today.
Of course.
He could have. Exactly. What a manela, bro. Man, I don't think Gambia is why they are in this. I believe that they are in this for their own personal glory. And I'm sorry, that's my opinion. Because
they are not committed. The problem is commitment was lacking. The commitment wasn't there 100%. They took advantage of a situation that Gambians were in. And that was an easy moment for them to have an easy ride. And they took advantage of that. That was what happened. Because then many people were on the ground at the time, fighting, but we are not privy to have such leadership positions, to be there. So they were the ones that were meant to represent, and they did represent the Gambians. But unfortunately, they failed. They failed in the sense that they had ulterior motives. So the list among them that were there for the cause, those ones were not supported. And the only thing that up to today baffles me, the only thing that baffles me up to today is why did Halifa kept it so quiet and didn't come out to tell us. But I do understand also the fragility of the country then was one of the reasons why Halifa do not want to come and cause any chaos in the country, which is understandable. But at the same time, on another vein, I was thinking, if he had come out and tell the government, or even make a press conference, telling the populace that this XYZ is what is going on, and these people have already compromised XYZ, and you Gambians entrusted us with power today based on the fact that we said XYZ, we campaigned by saying XYZ, and this is what we wanted to do. But unfortunately, it is not going to happen. And this is the situation that we are in now, and we, the Doi leadership, are not going to be part of that group, because tomorrow we don't want to taint our integrity. So now we don't want to compromise our integrity. So it is up to you Gambians now to decide what you want. And then I believe if that was done, we would have come out and then protest against these people. Because I was on the ground, and me personally, I was going to go out and I was going to call people out, because that time this government was not stable. They were not settled. They were not settled then.
You should be Alpha's assistant, This was that we are saying.
You should be Alpha's secretary.
I mean, this could have been.
Radicalism sometimes is necessary in a situation of the country like Gambia. Because if you look at Jammeh, the reason why Jammeh tamed the country and was able to drive the country to that level, though he was a totalitarian, which we all condemned, but Jammeh knew what he was doing. Because let me tell you something, fear is stronger than love. That one has to know. And Jammeh was playing with people's intelligence because he knows what was going on. So what we should have, you need a little bit of a radical to run Gambia somehow. If you look at the current dispensation, what we're having, it's lacking that little bit of radicalism. I'm not saying, a radicalism whereby it will cause adverse, development into the country. No, but little bit of radicalism is necessary. You understand? So this job is, I've already mentioned that. even though the country was fragile. I did say that. Maybe you were not here. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes too much of secure. You see, when you want to secure yourself too much or you want to be too safe, if you want to be too safe in any given situation, this is a formula I'm going to tell you. If you do that, what's going to happen is you will be a victim if you are not very careful. I tell you this. This is why sometimes I repel, I retaliate, and people think of me otherwise. I don't care. Because I know the intelligence, I know people's mentality. Thank you. You may proceed, Tawhid.
Okay, well, linga.
I think she want to say something. Great thing they want to restore rule of law. Is it that there is no rule of law?
Caesar is asleep. Violent correct.
Great thing said we want to restore rule of law in the country. You are muted.
Yeah. Caesar Bularek. Abula kana badandi. Let him be a spectator. Thank you. I'm I'll second it in the sense that now that in retrospect, Uncle Halifa should have said something. Man fogna waron na wax dara pour wax Gambian si in time lot was happening. He should have said something.
Exactly.
He should have said something. Diga. Man li helat na ko in different ways.
Man, it baffles me up to today.
Because I'm because stage mom nyaka wax bobu nonu wow ko panen ko lu nek mom especially mom lu nek wonen ko
I want you to buy one book. I want you to buy Alaj Barrow's book, Dictator is Us. You read that.
We are the dictators, but Gambia, that's what we needed. Because let me tell you, Jammeh groomed us. We have to remember this thing. Jammeh groomed the Gambians to the extent
do you know that date of us? Do you know date of us, eh?
Okay, I know about Data. She was the very one that asked Ahmad to go and join the coalition because
that was he said. That was he said. Gambian condoned that
stuff that we are not necessary. And then she was the very one that cautioned him to go back to Gambia because the coalition formation was in place. But what I'm saying is, I know Data. I used to follow them, and I was, in that diaspora group. What I'm saying is, Gambians, Jammeh groomed us to become something different that people don't realize.
That was he said.
Yes, mental health. That affects everybody. People are trying to suppress it, and they're trying to deviate from accepting the reality. Many people are traumatized. They're traumatized in this way or the other way round. People are traumatized either on this way or the other way. Everyone was affected by the situation. Just look at that impact.
What can they do, Gretinga, at that point in time?
What should have been done is the leaders then, our political leaders then, should have looked at they should have studied the situation, thoroughly and understand that time what was going on. You don't have to be too soft.
I think Khalifa said something after the coalition, parliamentary coalition building process failed. I think either Omar Wali or one of these journalists have asked Khalifa during the deliberation room at Kairababi. Muneko, what is going on?
No, Khalifa only spoke in April 2017. That was the nomination day. When he came out after being nominated, the journalist posed him a question. I think it was Omar Wali, why didn't you take position for ministerial portfolio? And then that was the moment that he explained everything.
I think what Adubo is saying, they have different conversations. Even
they had a conversation. That's why.
Even Sidia talk about it extensively.
Yes, they had a conversation at the Keraba Beach Hotel until President Barrow had to come out of his office to intervene because Ousseynou Dabo refused the one candidate.
Yeah, I know about that
independent candidacy.
Yes, but Adubo, I always reiterate that one. Let me tell you something. Maybe you forgot to. Those were the times before the independent event, and that was the time they gave Dabo all the documents to go and have a study of it and come back after the independence, because the invitees were coming, the heads of states were coming, the guests. So now, after the independence was when Dabo came back and said no. He vehemently denied. He totally refused to accept the whole idea, and that was why. Then they couldn't do nothing. But me, I'm not talking about that moment or those moments. I'm talking about the beginning. From the beginning, when they were appointing the cabinet, Barrow was appointing his cabinet and offered PDOIs 2 ministerial positions, which they turned down. That's the time I'm talking about. That was when those statements were needed most, before the government was settled to start operating.
But I think you talk about that. Like what Adubo is saying, Halifa Sallah has been emphasizing that they've agreed not to take positions in the government. Their agreement was for them to go to the parliament.
Yeah, no, I understand where Gretinka is talking.
No, Timpoy, I think you are missing my point.
Yeah, I understand where he is talking. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying, let me reiterate it again. Let me clarify. What I'm saying is, who is making noise? What I'm saying is what I'm saying is, Halifa Sallah was exercising democracy. Let me tell you, Halifa is a Democrat. Nobody is taking that from him. And nobody can then dispute that. So Halifa is so principled to the extent that he respects the rule of law too much. And being a credible person and an elder, he wouldn't like to jeopardize the security of the country or whatsoever. But economic forces were in the country. He was calculating that if we stage a protest, maybe the outgoing party would use that opportunity and seize advantage on that. You see, and be part of that protest to jeopardize the whole, just to bring chaos and then to jeopardize the tranquility that we had. I do understand that. But I am saying, on the other hand, it could be a different, scenario as well. Because the economic forces were present on the ground. Okay. And then the Gambians were going to protest peacefully, demanding that 3 years to be enforced, that MOU to be signed, and to make sure that they abide by what they campaign.
Okay, Gretinka, do you think Gambians will trust a coalition again, learning from other coalition, learning from other last coalition? I mean,
of course, do you know why? I will answer you before you read. I've already processed your question. If somebody, let me give you a scenario here. If someone is knocked by a vehicle on the high street, do you think no one will cross that road again?
Of course, somebody will cross that road, but you are comparing something that is different.
No, but it's all the same. Even though we have a bad coalition.
No, it's not the same.
No, come on.
I think Boro is not that worst. You need to agree with that.
Can I say?
Baro is not that worse, but that wouldn't stop us from
forming a coalition. It's not even, I think. Baro is...
Yes, he's very peaceful, very tolerant. He's doing work, like literally, Baro is doing something, right? Gambians are not that much, eager for change right now.
One thing you guys are leaving behind.
Can I speak now?
Baro can be peaceful
as
you can whatever he want to be.
When after getting the finish, you can come.
No, hold on. Baro can be peaceful. Let him be peaceful to whatever level he wants to be peaceful. Yeah, even awarded with some peaceful whatever. Caesar used to
downplay that.
But yet still, but yet still, that wouldn't stop us. That wouldn't stop us from forming a coalition. You know the problem we have.
I want you to form a coalition.
No, it's not about Baro.
You know what I want you to do?
Okay, just let me finish.
Form a coalition.
Okay, let me finish.
And then you do Malen.
No, hold on. The problem we have now is not about Baro. It's not about anything to do with Baro being soft or cool or whatever. Our problem is the cooperation is what we don't have among ourselves. We have, political parties that are not ready looking, for coalition. And the other thing, I'm suspecting something. I'm not saying it's right. And I'm going to say it. Let them come and try to fry me. Is there a problem? I don't care.
Well,
I am suspecting some foul play. Is Baro not financing that old man?
Which old man?
Because the old man is always jeopardizing the process. He doesn't want anything to how to work out.
No, say he's not
financing that old man underneath.
No, come on. No.
Because I don't know why he is always adamant and always refusing. Because the thing is, you see, these politicians, don't trust some of them. He could be getting some remuneration.
Hey, Adway, man. Hey,
because mom is always an outcast. Hey, man, he's always an outcast.
Okay, man, he's been quiet.
Be a distractor. But how could you see him be a distractor? You have the numbers. Let them not judge you. Do not succumb. Do not succumb to any convention.
No, that will never happen anyway. I know that.
That will never happen.
Degluma, gis nga great thinker, Dabo ak lifinam bi. ambition pour nekk president cannot be questioned. That would mean a time president. And again, I will accept. No, listen.
Yahya Jammeh of UDP, more honne. This is UDP 1 and UDP 2.
No, but no. Bowser will never.
No. Bowser will never. He has ambition to be a president.
I think you can put him up. Yeah.
No, Gambia amul rule of law, the independent our judiciary amul koku non waxo dega. Lolu mo na ko question to anybody. Our judiciary is fully independent. Nyata cases government ko win, you go win government and then agree on less mu demanding forces the poor. Why they don't talk President Barrow mine Justice Jete or Chief Justice Defani lolu amato is think of the past.
What removing Alcalos political interest? How about removing Alcalos?
Yes. As far as the president have genuine right, not the president, in fact, the minister, misconduct or whatever, have the right.
No, what we ask, do
you think the president have right to remove Alcalos?
Listen to me, I'm not in the mind of the president or to speak on his mind, but what I'm saying, the misconduct of that particular Alcalo, the president, the constitution has given him the powers, not to him, sir, the minister is responsible for that.
Which constitution have mandated the president to remove Alcalo? A traditional rule.
That's what I'm saying. One is a president because it's a level of ministers. A minister can dismiss through the recommendation of those alcohol or whatever.
Yes.
So I will not know to justify one. I cannot sit there to justify what is in the mind of the president, whether it's political.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right?
Of course.
Do you think it's right?
So did they misconduct? Why not?
Misconduct as what? Tell me
anything as far as misconduct.
Give me an example. Just give me an example.
Misconduct. So I'm not here to sit on the mind of the president.
How about Alcalos that are holding How about Alcalos that are holding flags to go to NPP rallies?
Listen to me. It for whatever for Bundi Boka, you are free to do your political if you are you understand? But that is not my business. But what I'm saying, if the president know that to use his constitution to discipline or whatever, he has nothing to do with outside from the law. Therefore, that is illegal.
Yeah,
it's irrational. I'm not here I'm not in the mind of the president to know like what
I'm just asking whether it is right to remove Alcalos.
No, you say what is
your own perspective. In your own perspective.
In my own way, as far as sort of a misconduct, whatever.
What you mean by misconduct, my brother? What you mean by that?
Misconduct, misconduct sa muna le abuse alkala yidem sa xaliss deglu ma sa misconduct deglu ma sa deglu mo ko sa alkala yo xamne ñu ngi jël xaliss nit ñi di yol affaire la téléphone ko lool is misconduct lo sa wone la da why not
Alcalo who has been removed from Fonyi from
I cannot justify because I cannot talk on that because I don't have any information on that one. Thank you.
Okay, allow Nyang to come. Nyang, you can go on.
And the president musulo dega ñu ne president moko da musu da.
Good afternoon.
The
problem with the Gambia is very simple. To a large extent, we have great laws in Gambia. But unfortunately, there's a cozy relationship between the three branches of government. They are all co-equal, but they allow themselves to be strange bedfellows by sleeping in the same bed. Take the local government, or look at the civil service, for example. Civil servants are auxiliary staff or auxiliary members of government, meaning they're here to serve the three branches of government. But we have seen the politicization of the civil service. We have seen the politicization of traditional rulers to the point many traditional rulers cannot openly support the parties they so choose to support because of fear of reprisal. Why? Because the law as is not being followed. With regards to the issue of the Alcalo, the Fonyi Alcalo that was removed, we have seen conflicting statements from the governor of West Coast region, and that alone says that the government knew that what they were doing is not right. But who is there to bail the cart? That's the problem we are faced with as a nation. The police that's policing us is not being policed. Thank you.
That is very true. You've made a very good.
Let me make a formal record. Nyang, I would love to have you on my podcast next week. So I don't know how would I be able to reach out to you.
Who is this?
This is Aliu.
Think point.
Yes. I would love to have you.
Has a platform there.
Send me a message on.
I think I have.
You have?
Alexa, switch on bedroom light.
Just send me a message and I will make sure I give you my WhatsApp number. We'll take it from there.
Alexa, turn on electric banking.
Cisse, what are you saying? We cannot hear you. Or you're in a conversation. I think if we have conversations logically, we may have political divergence, but we will see where things are going wrong and things are falling apart. But if we want to justify the unjustifiable, we'll always have a chaotic conversation.
I have a question for you, just to make conversation very interactive. Now that we are going into 2016, and then the issues of polarization in our political space, I want you to lament on that. Of recent, IEC said 6 political parties do not really do the needful. As of now, they've delayed their processes. Do you really think that we needed to have like 20 to 30 political parties contesting an election?
Why not? It's called political plurality. It is good. Even if 1,000 parties want to participate, Gambians should be happy that our democracy is vibrant, buoyant, and active. But what we need to realize equally is that in politics, you either play or you become you ask for a seat at the table, or you end up being part of the menu that will be eaten at the table. So political participation must be encouraged, and barriers to entry must be restricted.
Alexa, switch on bedroom light. Hey guys, I'm not getting coconut.
So, Nyam, before you come, we were discussing about the issues of the reports, of how to call it, audit reports that has been tabled before the National Assembly. In different accounts, most of the times, government do not really give heed to whenever auditors make their reports. They do not actually take it seriously. Why do you think
Very
that?
simple. Well, if actions are not being taken, people will think there is no consequence for action. So we need repercussions. And truth be told, and this is not political, this is an observation of our administrative procedures. The general orders are great, the financial instructions are great, but unfortunately, we don't live by them as government and as a civil service. And those two things are the Bible and the Quran of the public service, and we should really abide by the general orders and the financial instructions if we are to take our government serious.
That's great. That's a great submission. I am very curious with regards to the issue of the economy today. IMF from the government, they made it clear that IMF said the economy is progressing. But looking at the Gambians' living standard today, there is a lot of discrepancies in what has been on paper and the realities. As an economist, how do you reconcile this?
Well, the former president of the ADB, Adesina, he said people don't eat GDP. So data is good, statistics are good, but statistics is not what we eat. Unfortunately, IMF and the World Bank are not a yardstick that we should look for when we come to the welfare, when we talk about the welfare of our people. Why? These global multilateral institutions, they have checklists and tick boxes. For a country, they give you money and they calculate the rate of disbursement and say the project is good. That doesn't mean it's good for the people. If that were the case, the amount of money spent at Jahali Pachar under all these projects, Gambia would have been at a different place today than we should have been. But if you look at the Bretton Woods institutions, their whole premise is to ensure that we have a balanced or stable macro environment. But a stable macroeconomic environment is not enough. Why isn't it enough? What they're interested is boosting our export, but boosting our export when we are selling it for peanuts, because we sell peanuts and peanuts is peanuts. So what we need to do is not look outward, but look inward for salvation, development, and prosperity. The barometers being set forth by the World Bank and the IMF are not yardsticks that will show progress. If you look at, there's two things I always tell people: poverty alleviation and poverty eradication are two different things. IMF and World Bank want us to alleviate poverty. We should ensure that we eradicate poverty. So basically, it's just like a pharmaceutical company giving you medicine to maintain your high blood rather than getting you medicine that will kill your high blood. So they want us to continue to take medication from cradle to grave. So similar with the IMF and the World Bank, so long as we are moving, they're fine. And for us, that's not enough. Well, for me, it's not enough. What Gambia needs is a Minister of Finance that's bold enough to put forth two things. One, an import substitution strategy to reduce our import bill. Also, make sure that they have an accelerated economic development program. An accelerated program, how can we leapfrog? Because at the pace we're going, even in 100 years, Gambia will not catch up with the Indonesias, the Indias, and other countries. So we need an accelerated growth strategy. And that you can, and you will never get living with the World Bank and IMF paradigm and frameworks.
Incredible. We cannot have enough of your submission. This was tracked back in your days with Sergio Brito in Faro Network, your political analysis. But I want to seek your attention on the issues of IMF intervention. I think this was the day before yesterday. They made a post on Facebook. They've asked a question about the investment strategy that they can implement in developing countries to strengthen their human capital. What do you really think they needed to do to strengthen the human capital in developed countries or global south?
Well, when you said the global south, the IMF is not too keen on the development of the global south. We need to look out of the IMF and the World Bank to ensure that we move towards guaranteeing and assuring our prosperity. Who funds the IMF? The industrial north. What does the industrial north want? Raw material. What do we want? Transformation, value added, and processing. IMF will not give us money to build a cashew processing plant in the Gambia, but they will give us money to till the land and tractors to grow more cashews. So long as we are eating our produce raw and selling it raw, we will remain to be poor.
So you mean we needed to do more of industrialization by making sure that we process our raw materials and export them?
Transformation, absolutely. Look at what's the name of the country again? Burkina Faso. Their gold, once they stop sending it brute and make sure it's refined, what's happened? Their GDP is growing like it's on steroids. You look at Chad with their nuclear fuel, I forgot the name, uranium. Look at how much they have gained. So we need to change. The people who are in need of our products are the very people who are advising us about the growth of our economy. It's not going to happen. Africans need to be bold, and this is not a Gambian problem. I see myself as a new African, not only a Pan-African, but a new African that is free of mental bondage. And I cannot and will not rely to the World Bank and the IMF to give me prescription for my prosperity. They will give me prescription for my sustenance. I don't want sustenance. I want progress. And they will never give us progress, sorry to say. Looks like everyone is quiet here. Aduboy, yeah, you know it. Well, anyway, you guys are quiet. I guess I got to leave.